Welcome again to an inside job. We call it the war on addiction, because I believe from us, we have to go to war against this thing. Not the war on drugs, that didn't work, but the war on addiction. So I have my good friend for a long time, Jimmy P. He's going to talk to us. But first, I want to thank LATV. They're really good to us. In fact, coming down and just talking about the thing beforehand, great conversations on this problem. They're really backing us up. But this is from Dr. Gabor Mate in the realm of the hungry ghost. Addiction has biological, chemical, neurological, physiological, medical, social, emotional, political, economic, and spiritual. And I want to throw in theological underpinnings. As Jimmy and I were talking before we came, it's not going to happen with what the insurance would give, a 7-day in the program, and we are not promoting AA, but that's what Jimmy and I do and a lot of others. A 7-day, we call it a spin dry, 7 days in. That can't work. I said in the first episode, which I talked, I was 2.5 years behind the walls of AA, but I'm sitting here right now talking about it. So anyway, with that said, Jimmy P., welcome.
Welcome.
He's a good man, good man.
Thank you.
And so we'll begin. What's your age now, Jimmy?
50 years old.
He said that shyly. He doesn't look it.
Thank God.
What's the age when you started with problems?
Well, to be honest with you, I think we were talking the other day, when I was a kid, I was sick a lot, and I ended up drinking a lot of that codeine cough medicine,
yeah,
which I honestly didn't realize. I don't think it was just for the taste, you know, but again, who knows?
And how old were you?
6 to 8 years old.
6 to 8 years old.
Yes, yep.
Okay. And so you started with that.
Yep.
And then drinking?
Yeah, I drank. I really didn't like the booze very much because I seen what the damage had done to my family.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of mental and physical and spiritual abuse. And it made me who I was, I think, growing up, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. They say it starts in the crib.
Yep.
Starts in the crib.
Yep.
So from not drinking so much, but wasn't there a space between the 6 to 8 with the cough medicine and then beginning, what, weed?
Actually, no.
No.
I didn't even smoke weed. Again, I seen a brother of mine. You know, again, this goes back to my childhood learning. Everything that I knew as a child that I thought was normal, the abuse, the mental, the physical, the emotional abuse, you know, watching my family fight all the time, the booze, black beauties, just all that stuff. Remember that as a kid. And I used to, like I say in the AA meetings that I go to, you know, I used to watch people get hugs down the street and be told that they were loved. And I thought there was something wrong with them people, you know. And then as I grew older, I had a lot of, like, looking at life like, there's something wrong here, and I just didn't know what it was,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So from, when did you get into the harder drugs? You had said you got in an accident?
Yeah, well, actually, before that, I started doing drywall when I was a young kid, and I bought my first house at 19, and so I had a lot of money, and I didn't know how to deal with money.
Yeah.
Friends of mine were doing cocaine and back in the 80s, and I tried it and I fell in love with it. For 6 months, I did a lot of cocaine, and I finally was like one day, after a week straight going, my addiction was 0 to 100, which most addictions are. I realized that I was giving everything I worked so hard for away to the drug dealers, which were relatives of mine. And yeah. So I made a decision to stop. I didn't know about detoxes. I didn't know about addictions. The things that I did know is I thought were normal, the partying. I watched my uncles doing cocaine. You know, I watched my father drink. He was one out of the 2 people that I know to this day that had put the booze down and was done, you know, because it beat him up so mentally and physically. I love my dad today, you know.
Yeah.
I love my dad today, which is a beautiful thing today.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
You know, 5 years, when we're up in Gardner,
Yep,
you
yep.
know, you're talking about it wasn't that way then.
No, absolutely
Even 5
not.
years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So you got in a car accident at what age? And you picked up the heroin.
Well, what happened was I used to work out, and I was working out, and I had just gotten out of the gym, and I was driving through the center of Gardner. I got rear-ended, and I hurt 5 of my discs in my back, and they prescribed me pain meds, and you know, I took them, I guess, as prescribed at first, but the second car accident I got in a couple of years later, I hit my head, and I was getting migraines, so the migraines were just, I was just doing Percocet after Percocet, and it just wasn't helping. Excuse me. And so I went to the hospital, and I eventually got Demerol shots, and the Demerol, it just sent me for a loop, and I was like, wow, you know? But again, at this age, I didn't know nothing about addiction, and I was stuck, and I didn't know. So at 30, by the time I was 31 years old, a gentleman I knew, not a friend, had asked me if I knew what heroin was, and I didn't even know what it was. That's how naive I was. I knew about black beauties, I knew about weed, I knew about pot, the pot, the weed, whatever it is, and the booze, and I didn't know nothing about that. So I ended up, I ran out, and the guy had said something about being dope sick, and I didn't know what dope sick was. And he said, well, if you do this, you'll be all set. And I didn't know it was heroin, and he said, try it. It's the same thing as a pain pill. that turned out to be almost a 10, 11-year addiction of heroin. And then,
Shooting it?
at first it wasn't shooting it, was snorting it. I had the money, so I ran hard. And from that point, it went back to the cocaine because I think what it was a chemical imbalance in me. One minute I wanted to be down, and the next minute I wanted to be up because it was too much and it wasn't enough. It was too much, and I was so off balance that I didn't give myself a second to even stop. It was every day, sometimes weeks. I would get enough cocaine and enough heroin and go hide in the woods by myself. And I lived in hell. I remember like passing out in the woods and waking up and thinking about all the pain that I knew I was causing people. But then there was that other part of me saying, I'm not hurting nobody but myself. And all that pain would come about, and I would start crying, and I'd start feeling I'm hurting my children, my wife, people that were close to me. So I would do it again, and it would just keep rolling like that. And then there was times I needed to go home and I couldn't, and it was really the drug that just kept me going.
How close did you come to losing your children and wife?
Quite a few times. At the end, it was there. She basically said, I cannot and I will not watch you die. Do what you got to do. And she stepped back. It's not that she didn't love me, it's she couldn't watch me die.
Yeah.
you know.
And she's beautiful.
Yeah, she is very beautiful. I'm a very blessed person today, yes, absolutely.
And still, it was more important than that. More important than anything.
I want to tell you this, I don't share this with a lot of people. I have shared it in meetings
You are
before.
now.
I am going to now because this is how important it is. It starts with our children, but a lot of us don't realize this. But it was one time that I was sick, and I got up and I was trying to get out the door past my wife and past my child, and my younger daughter was standing at the sliding door, and my wife just said to me, she said, "I can't do this anymore. If you walk out that door, that's the last time you're ever going to see your daughter." And I walked out that door, and you know, as soon as I got high, as soon as I was high, it all went back to, I am so sorry. I would never ever do this again. I swear to God. And you know, she didn't tell me to leave. She didn't tell me to stay. I think she was at this point more fearful that I was going to die. And you know, it took a long time to get some trust back. And my kids are in my life today. I've got an older daughter who I didn't see for a very long time, actually not due to the drugs and alcohol. Her name's Jamie, and my other daughters, the youngest one is Emily. My wife is Becky. And I didn't see her for a long time, not really due to the drugs and alcohol, but a lot of it had to do with, again, I'm going back to my childhood because a lot of this stems from my childhood. You know, watching my father coming in and out of my life, my mother coming in and out of my life, and not knowing how to trust or love people, you know what I'm saying? And in watching my father do the things he did, I learned a lot from him, how to manipulate women and do certain things to manipulate people. And he's not that man today, by the way, but I learned a lot from him, you know?
Is your mother still alive?
No, she passed away. I want to say
Sorry.
it's okay. Honestly, I'm going to say it like it is. I hated her because of the things that she did. And until I came in Alcoholics Anonymous and realized, not a lot of people know this, but my parents weren't handed books on how to be parents. They learned from their parents and so on, which, you know, the cycle of drug, alcohol, any kind of addiction is in my family, you know, and I'm breaking that cycle today by learning how to help people. And even when I don't have a lot of money, God takes care of me today. I found a loving God, which I was brought up Catholic back in the day, and Catholics were punished, and not today. God isn't punishing to me. God takes really good care of me, you know.
I want to, I was at a meeting this morning at the UU Church, and I wouldn't have heard this if I wasn't there. And the guy said, and he's a combat veteran, and he said, what we are doing here are resurrecting the dead. And that just hit me, boom, because for me, there was nothing. I wanted out, and I tried to get out. But
oh, yeah, me
that's
too.
powerful.
Absolutely.
And it really sunk in.
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me ask, how long did you keep rolling after you walked out that door?
41 years old. I finally got, I didn't like booze, by the way. I really didn't like the booze because, again, watching my family, but every time I drank, I got in trouble. You know, I would get in fights, I would do really stupid things, but I decided to try to stop one night, and I got a DUI by the grace of God. And I thank God for that today, because it made me realize that I was also an alcoholic, because most people can go have a drink. I'm not normal. Right. I don't stop when I start on anything. So 41 years old, I was doing things that I never thought I would do, lying, stealing, whatever it took to feed my addiction, taking from my family, not so much my friends, from places that I wouldn't have ever thought of doing, being not on the drugs. I asked to go to jail twice. I tried detoxes,
How many, Jimmy?
Probably 20,
Approximate,
20, 25, and I'm going to tell you, detoxes just don't work. Detoxes just don't work. It's a quick spin. It's a good money maker, I can tell you that. What I needed was to get away from the whole situation. I tried the detoxes. Some people get a moment of clarity, they call it, and go to aftercare and stuff, which I never had that moment of clarity. All I knew is I needed to get away, and what I've heard in the program and from other people is I just needed to get away from everything. Not saying I could find drugs in jail. I can find drugs anywhere I go.
Right.
But I knew I wanted to go to jail to be locked down. The first time it didn't work.
How long?
About a month and a half. And I got out and I went to AA and it didn't work. It didn't work. And I didn't realize why it didn't work is because I thought I could stay home and watch TV or go to work and make my money and have that mental obsession, compulsion going on in my head 24 hours a day.
You were all alone.
All alone in my head. So after the second time I went to jail is when I remembered. I used to go to meetings, let me tell you, I used to go to meetings and I would swear to everybody I was sober and I'd lie and lie and lie until I got honest with myself and others. My life stayed the same, you know. I had to learn to trust people and to rely on people. There are a lot of good people in meetings. There were a lot of good counselors too. I had my counselor, Donna, I won't say her last name, but she's from Westminster, and that woman looked at me one day and she says, "When the F are you gonna stop?" And I'm like, "What? Lying?" And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You know why you're doing all this." And it ended up being a lot to do with my family, my childhood, and wow, that's when things started opening up for me, and I started to be honest after I got out of jail the second time. I went to a program after 4.5 months, straight out of jail. It lasted almost 6 months there.
Up in Gardner.
In Gardner, Pathway House. And then I ended up getting thrown out of there, not because of using or really any bad behavior. I just told somebody I was really angry, and the way I said it was kind of in a threatening manner, and I got thrown out. But what I did is I knew that I had so many issues for so long, I needed to learn how to deal with them still. So I went to three meetings a day. I actually went to 2 meetings a day, plus AdCare, Aftercare, to try to get my head together. And AdCare said, "Why are you here?" And I told him, I said, "Because I don't know which way I'm going still. I need to know what I have to do." And he understood that, and I stayed for a while. And I continued to go to meetings, and I learned to start helping others. A lot of kids, a lot of young kids. One that I just seen the other day, dying. He died a couple times. They brought him back with a Narcan, and I seen him, and I just would keep talking to him and keep telling him that your life can be different. It doesn't have to be that way. I seen him 2 or 3 weeks ago. Unbelievable. A kid from Gardner.
Clean.
Oh my God. He lives on Pleasant Street and in Gardner, one of the really bad areas, and phenomenal. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he thanked me. And that was all I want, is to teach people that they don't have to live like this, that this is here and it's going to stay there.
We see some people that come in, and I was one, a miracle. Like if that person can stay clean, sober, it's a miracle.
Absolutely.
Because it's transformed, like we said,
Yep.
or the gentleman said, we're resurrecting the dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We got 10 minutes. Goes by quick.
Yes, it does.
How long is sober now?
A little over 9 years sober, clean and sober, not just sober for me.
Yeah.
For me, sober
Clean and
is
sober.
yes. For me, it's just setting.
If you want to go longer, go longer.
For how long, Jack?
Whenever you feel like wrapping, because this is really good.
Yeah. So clean and sober for me. I was like sober the first time. I got clean was I just put the drugs down, you know, and lived the same life that I was living, you know. What I mean is living a dirty life. In other words, not changing the bad behaviors, which it could have been, it wasn't, but it could have been stealing, lying, deceitfulness, like road rage, like I say in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, you don't know what other people are going through in their life. Like me, I used to be so violent that like I'd be driving down the road, and if somebody almost hit me, I would chase them down and beat them up. And honestly, when I was in jail, I stopped. I changed. They told me I had to change everything. When I asked to go to jail the second time, I stopped swearing. I've actually counted 92 times I've said the F word in over 9 years, and I say a couple other little ones. But I stopped fighting in jail, and I'm going to say this: I don't really care what other people think. I checked in jail because I didn't want to fight. I did not want to be that same person, because if I was to do that, I wasn't changing. And I didn't care what anybody else thought. I found out there was one judge, and that was God. And God was the one I had to answer to, not people, God. And so I stopped swearing, I checked in. Like I said, I went to the program. I learned how to live clean and sober.
That second time in jail, I don't know if I asked, but how long was that?
That was about 4.5 months.
4.5 months,
Yes,
yeah.
yep. And in jail, I remember they talked about changing everything, and that's when I did.
Yeah.
I actually did. I started giving food away that I didn't have, and then the conversations that I'd have with people were immense. But there was some hatred towards me, but I didn't care. I didn't care, you know.
Let me interrupt. Were you able to attend any AA or NA in jail?
There was AA meetings in there, and I went to every one that I could. I started a meeting inside the jail. I actually, when I learned that God wasn't punishing, I actually went to the church that they had on Sundays, and it just released me. I read the Bible.
Yep.
I read the whole Bible. Doesn't mean I know everything. Far from
Right.
it. But I know Jesus Christ was put on this earth for forgiveness. And I'm going to tell you now, that's when my journey started. When I actually read that and I said, I can be forgiven for all the bad things I've done to people and the stuff that I do continuously. And I asked for forgiveness, and it started with women. I was just like my dad, and I had to ask for that forgiveness. And then the hurting of other people, the stealing, all the things that I did that I knew in my heart that wasn't right, you know, which was a lot of things. And I'm good. I'm actually good.
I want to interject, because anybody's spiritual journey is fine with me. No say word.
Absolutely.
You're on yours.
Yep.
I'm on mine.
Absolutely.
The meeting upstairs that we have, the 1, 2, 3, step 1, 2, 3 meeting, is very, it's eye-opening because there are 20 of us in there, and there's so many different ways
Yep.
that people, and it just came to mind. Did you have a sponsor through this whole thing?
Actually, I had a sponsor in the beginning that did not give up on me. His name is Mark S. from Gardner.
Yeah.
He would hunt me down and try to make sure I was okay. It was horrible, though. A lot of things. I would hide, and yeah, he did not give up on me. Then,
Explain what a sponsor is in the program. Please.
They talk about sponsorship. To me, sponsorship is actually friendship. Somebody that you can learn to trust, which I never had trust because of issues in my childhood. I keep going back to that because that's what it starts. I realize that today, you know. Someone there that you can bounce questions on. I had no idea about anything. I was just so down and beat up I knew that my childhood and the way that I grew up and the way I was doing things just wasn't right, you know. And I could bounce things off him, and he would come see me. I died 5 times, and been brought back, and you know, I did not want to live. People don't realize, you know, people don't realize how bad it is. It's horrible. I realized, like, he was a real friend, you know. He was
Yeah.
a real friend.
Yeah. And of course, the sponsoring a lot. You know, there's a lot of people in AA. There's a lot of sick peas laughing. A lot of saints,
Yeah.
sinners, thieves, everything. It's just
Oh, yeah.
huge. And a lot of times, egos can get in the way. So
Absolutely.
we all, you know, we suggest that you get somebody with a good amount of time, sober and clean, somebody you can identify with.
Yes.
And then, but it's all our choices, no
Yeah.
matter what anybody says.
Yes.
We could walk out here today and head down and
Do the same
we could
thing.
do it up, but our choice is today, we're not going to do that, I wouldn't think.
No.
I don't know about you, but
Absolutely
I don't think
not.
I will.
I'm too spiritually fit today.
Yeah, yeah. You do help a lot of people.
Through God.
And that, yeah.
Through God.
Through your God. What could help with this epidemic?
Honestly, I think it needs to start in the schools. You know, I tried to go to Gardner School and see if I could speak. These kids do not understand what is really going on here. They don't realize at first, you know, like I watched people smoking pot and they were all having fun and they're not drinking, so I drank a little, I hung around with the older crowd. But I was never taught in school heroin.
Yeah.
I wasn't taught about cocaine. I wasn't taught about pain pills. Honestly, you know, like I was saying earlier, I got an operation where they cut me about 9 inches, and before I had this operation, I told the doctors, no, absolutely nothing.
No pain pills.
For pain. I would rather die on the table.
And you were clean at
Clean.
this time, yeah.
Yes, yep. And you know, the funny part about it is I went in to go for that operation, and the first thing that the anesthesiologist talked about was pain meds. And in my records, I'm allergic to alcohol and drugs. And apparently he did not read that. And I looked at him, I said, you will pay for my children and my wife the rest of your life, because I will use again. And then they tried the old, well, what if we didn't tell you? What if you didn't tell me? I'm an addict. I will know. My body will know.
I'm a little mixed up. So they used something on you, the anesthesiologist?
No. They came in to tell me they were going to put me under, and if they talked about when they were going to put me under, what they were going to do and how it was going to go about, and then they told me that they were going to put me on pain meds during the surgery to keep the pain, something about blood pressure, I think it was. I lost it. And they actually sat there about 45 minutes with me, talking to me, asking me questions, and I told them point blank how that works. Your body and mind does not forget the addiction.
No.
I don't care if I'm asleep or not. I am going to know.
A taste.
Absolutely.
A taste.
A taste isn't a taste.
A taste and we're gone.
Gone. 100%.
We know this
Yep.
because we see it every day.
Yep.
You know, what took the people out? And 99, and going out, I mean, going back out, drinking 99% or 98% is they stop going to AA meetings. I don't know anybody outside the meetings. I've been coming for a long time. So this is my experience, but I do know, as you stated, that you were home all alone. All alone. I see that so many times. You know, they go out. People go out. They're in their head. They're all alone. And if that thing is set down, I don't care how many years
Doesn't
you
matter.
have, because I've seen it 15, 20, 25
31
years.
31
And they will
years, I
say,
think.
I thought I was all right.
Been a while.
And or a glass of champagne. One guy, 19 years sober, he's at his daughter's graduation or something. They're sitting at the table, and he said, "What the hell? Glass of champagne."
That's easy.
Took him 3 years to get back. In, out, in, out, in, out. And then it's just so many.
The compulsion and addiction is what it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Compulsion and addiction kicks back in and it's done.
I said it last week, I believe. When you're sober, the old turntable, you're clean, sober, the needle's right there. You take it off the record. You pick up, you're going right back there and worse. And then it's just, it's taken so many people and the kids, you know, and the kids. What got you, well, we've been talking about what got you sober, and then we began talking. So we know the 12-step program worked for us.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And for you, it was a God of your understanding.
Absolutely.
That's what, those two things you believe is what got you sober, and so many more. The, you know, the higher power being God and the Bible, and so many other things. But then, of course, we all have different thoughts about it. Let's see, probably, he said go a little long, so, and he says this very powerful, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you. Takes guts to come on here.
Well, people need to know that their children are in danger.
Yeah. Jim, if you don't mind me saying this about your daughter.
Whatever.
She is struggling with a disease, physical disease, and it has brought you to your knees, and your wife to your knees, to do with insurance, to do with her suffering. And I've watched it, but you still haven't picked up. How come?
Because my daughter, if I picked up, I wouldn't be there to help her. I wouldn't be able to guide her like I can today.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't be able to love her the way I love her today.
Right.
You know, she has an immune deficiency, and you know, the insurance companies, if it was for drugs, for you know, pain meds or something, there you go. But she has an immune deficiency, and I think it's around $30,000 a month, and the insurance pays most of it, and they canceled it again on her. And again, if it was pain meds or something, I'm sure that they wouldn't hesitate, you know?
Yeah. If someone was making money on it, but they're losing money on it.
Yes, absolutely.
Bad.
Absolutely.
Bad,
It's very sad.
Bad.
Yep.
It all revolves around money.
Always.
Everything.
Always.
The money that they're throwing in the wrong direction, in my own opinion, you know, a spin drive, an insurance company, a spin drive. You were in detox how many times? 25, you said.
Yeah.
Steve Paul last week, 150 times.
Yep.
What is that costing us? An OD, fire department, police, the ambulance, hospital, psychologists, social worker, some days in the hospital, maybe going to a place. It's all costing the state something, and they just keep throwing it out and throwing it out, or throwing it somewhere else. Yeah, I'm yelling and screaming, and you're going to hear a lot more of it, because I personally am sick of this thing, and it haunts me at this point in my life. So I'm going to be yelling, I'm going to be screaming, and not just here.
No, absolutely not.
So Jimmy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you, sir.
It was great. And so I guess we're going to wrap it up again. It's the war on addiction, because in my opinion, that's what it has to be. See you again.
Thank you.